The heart of your life and your walk is your relationship with God, your relationship with Jesus, your relationship with the Holy Spirit. This is fundamental. And if we look to or point to or seek after anything else, such as doing the right thing, avoiding the wrong thing, and if we elevate this above your relationship with the Holy One, with your Father, with your Creator, you've made a mistake. And in fact, that's what religion teaches. Religion puts you in a position of saying you must do this and you need to do better and you're not doing well enough. But the voice of your Father says, come unto me, come here, sit on my lap, be with me. That's what I want. And he actually knows that your being with him is what changes you. It gives you new perspectives. New perspectives, the more time that you spend with him, the new perspectives of who he is. It's removing those idols, those caricatures, those notions and images that you've created in your head. It changes your perspective of him. It changes your perspective of yourself. Because as you see him, you see who you are, because you're made in his likeness and image. It changes your perspective of others, because as you see who you are in him and how he sees you, you begin to realize that he is the Father of all, and how he sees you is also how he sees others. And so it changes your perspective on relationships. It changes everything. But we live in a world, and we live among people that are still following after the example of Adam, and they are living for self. And anytime it is self-serving, self-seeking, and James tells us this very clearly when he talks about the wisdom that's not from above. And he explains that it's self-seeking and that there's evil and confusion. Every confusion and evil thing comes from this self-seeking. Paul addressed the Corinthians in 1 Corinthians in chapter 3, and he told them, y'all are carnal. Y'all are still fleshly. I can't even talk to you about things of the Spirit, things that are spiritual in nature, because you're still connected to the flesh. You're still behaving just like Adam, just like men, the flesh. And notice what he says in 1 Corinthians 3. He says in verse 3, for you are still carnal. For where there is envy, strife, and divisions among you, are you not carnal and behaving like mere men? And this is very similar to what James says in end of James chapter 3, beginning chapter 4, where he talks about where there's envy and strife and every evil thing. It's because you're self-seeking. You're seeking after what you want, you desire, and you're putting that above what others, above serving, loving, giving to others. Love is self-sacrificial. It's not self-seeking. And again, the perspective is changed by time with him. And in the very next verse here in 1 Corinthians 3, Paul goes on and he says, because, and this is how he backs this up, that you're just carnal, you're behaving like mere men, because when one of you says, I am of Paul, or another says, I am of Apollos, he says, are you not carnal? So if your identity is in some allegiance to a group, a person, your identity is wrapped up in a denomination or where you go to church, you've missed the point. And he says you're still identifying yourself and behaving as just a man, just a person. You're still seeing yourself as a child of Adam, not a child of God. Because as a child of God, you spend time in that intimate, in-depth, personal relationship. That's what defines you and shows you your identity and completely transforms and changes you. Not your being included in some category. Paul, Apollos, Baptist, Methodist, Catholic, Messianic, whatever it is. Those do not define you as a believer. Your relationship with God does. That's what's key and critical. And that's what we have to help others to see as well. But we each must first grow in that. We love, and we are love because He first loved us. 1 John 4:19. You are not just a mere man. You're not a child of Adam. You are a child of God. And He wants you to come to Him and find your identity in Him to be as He is in this world.